Welcome, builders of the internet. My name is Jessa, and today I wanted to talk about helping others, particularly friends who might reach out to you for help. For me, this mainly boils down to two main points. Should I help somebody else, and what can I do to help? I'll also go over some of the effects of helping others, and as always, you can find my sources and timestamps in the description. On my mind. Should I help? The first real step before trying to help somebody is to consider if it is in everyone's best interests for you to provide your input. For me, this mainly comes down to two questions. Do they actually want my help? And am I able to give them the help that they need? For the first factor, I guess there is a relatively easy solution to determine if someone actually wants my input. I simply need to ask them and hope that they respond in such a way where it's easy to tell what I should do. Of course, there are people out there who don't always say what they really mean, which can make this difficult to determine. But at the end of the day, if someone isn't specifically asking for your help and advice, and you give it anyways, a lot of people could perceive this to be a bit rude and intrusive of you, which doesn't usually help with strengthening relationships, even if you do mean well. When people give me advice that I haven't really asked for, sometimes it feels like they're undermining my own abilities to solve my own issues, so I feel a little bit incompetent. And then it's not great for that person who's giving me the unwarranted help either, because they might not feel appreciated, and there is a chance that they'll feel resentment or possibly have their feelings hurt when I don't respond so welcomingly. So, if people don't want your help, sometimes the best course of action is to respect their boundaries, give them their space, and let them know that you are there for them if they do ever want your help. If someone has asked for your advice, it's important to consider the second question and think about whether you are personally in a position where you'd be able to make a positive influence in that other person's life without affecting your own quality of life. Considering all of this is definitely much easier said than done, and there are circumstances where we might find it difficult to say no. But when you think about it, if you are up to your ears in other commitments and feeling very stressed and overwhelmed with everything that you have going on in your life, you may well end up causing more harm than good, just because you haven't been able to give that other person the time that they need and deserve. If you end up making promises and commitments for this other person that you can't actually follow through with, it may well negatively affect your relationship with them. So it could be worth you just establishing those healthy boundaries for yourself and potentially signposting them to other people or resources that you think could be helpful to them. This could end up being more beneficial because at least there is a chance that someone else will be there to give them the time that they need. And it also means that you can be your best self to those you love rather than half-heartedly attempting to help. Such an important part of helping people is for your care to come from a genuine place where the other person feels wanted and welcomed. For a lot of people, when they are seeking for help, it could be coming from a really vulnerable place, and they might be putting a level of trust towards you when they open up. And if it feels like you're not actually wanting to be there because of the other things that you have going on in your life, this can really end up hurting the other person. What are the effects of helping others? When we put other people's needs before our own, there are some good and bad consequences to consider. Some of the positive effects of showing compassion and being there for others includes having less focus on ourselves, which can sometimes help put perspective on our own issues and also has the potential to reduce feelings of stress and anxiety because you're less preoccupied with your own personal problems. As well as giving some perspective, it can help some people have a sense of belonging and purpose, as well as strengthening your friendships, because it does show that you are there for them. Many people see improvements in their self-esteem and quality of life too, because being there for other people can increase life satisfaction due to better social lives and less feelings of loneliness. This is all in moderation, of course. It can be a lot of physical and mental effort to support somebody that is close to you, and when they're going through a really difficult time, you might find yourself feeling stressed, worried, or having feelings of anxiety and depression as you find yourself empathizing and being concerned for them. Sometimes people find that they have less time for themselves, or that their physical health is negatively impacted because they're not getting enough sleep or maintaining a balanced diet and lifestyle. Levels of stress can also be affected, and I talk about the effects of stress in this video here. The effects of helping others will vary depending on the situation and the people involved, but generally there are many great things that can come out of being there for other people. So, what are some of the things we can do to help others? This will always depend on the person and the situation you find yourself in, but generally speaking, if you're not sure about what to do for help, one of the first things again could be asking the other person what would really help them in this moment. If they're clear in their communication and can give you direction on this, then yay, that is wonderful. But just speaking from my personal experience, I know that if somebody wants to help me, I don't always know the solution of what could cheer me up in the moment, which isn't always too helpful. Knowing exactly what to do will always be a bit of a grey area that can just develop with more time and experience with that other person. But maybe a good starting point for knowing what to do could be looking at the actions that you've really appreciated in the past when other people have helped you. So for me, food is definitely one of the main ways to my heart, and in the past when my friends have just brought me a snack of some sorts, this usually makes me feel really cared for and appreciative of them. So sometimes I think that this might translate and help other people too. Say, if I go around someone else's house and bring them food, or if I see something that I think that this other person would appreciate, then I buy that and bring that to them to let them know that they're on my mind and that I'm there for them. Other things that could help people include just making time for them and providing that safe space for them to open up and confide in you. Maybe listening to them or providing solutions when they ask for it. Or if you can't think of good solutions, maybe encouraging them to seek help elsewhere, say through a trusted person with more experience, or a professional such as a doctor or a counsellor. This can be a bit scary, but if you offer to go with them so they don't feel so alone in this, that can be a huge help. Some people might just want a hug or a shoulder to cry on, so physical affection could be the best way to show that you're there for them. But of course, this last one can be a bit more difficult with social distancing rules that are happening throughout the pandemic. If you've asked this person how you can help and they're still not sure exactly, you could potentially go through the various options until you find something that works for them, and then try and do those more successful approaches next time too. As I've said before though, if you don't feel like you're in a good position to help somebody, directing someone and signposting them to other places can be the most helpful thing you can do. There are anonymous helplines such as the Samaritans that people can reach out to, as well as several charity helplines and pages that provide really useful tools, which I'll put links to in the description. Something which is also a great option is considering some of the wellbeing services that are offered in their environment. So for example, a lot of universities seem to offer free counselling services, which might be worth looking into for that person. And sometimes companies do provide wellbeing packages and discounts to their employees, which could be really helpful. Thanks for watching this video. This is a topic which I found quite difficult to script because it definitely feels like obvious stuff we've all heard before, and sometimes it's really hard to tell if we're actually helping somebody. After I left school, the nature of a lot of my friendships changed quite a lot, so I don't see my friends on such a regular basis anymore compared to the constant everyday nature of going to school. So sometimes it's hard to reach out for help and to be there for somebody but I don't see very frequently. Nonetheless, I think that help can be presented in so many different ways, say through random acts of kindness, dropping a message to check up on someone, or even just showing that you're there for them. As long as it comes from a genuine place of care for that other person, most people will pick up on this and are likely to appreciate the sentiment of what you are trying to do for them. That's all I have to say for now. I hope it helped build on your mind.
Thanks for watching this channel, it's building on my mind. Check out my other videos, but first hit the bell and comment, like, subscribe. Please, it really helps with the algorithm.